Sup, Nation, and the Hogwarts sorting continues. And now we're going over Slytherin. And now I have a total of 12 characters who deserve to be sorted into this house. Now, to start off, we need to go over the traits of Slytherin and what they stand for. Power, pride, ambition, and cunningness. Those are the 4 traits that represents a Slytherin. Now, do these 12 characters fit the criteria for Slytherin? Well, let's see. Starting off with number 1, Vegeta. Now, knowing Vegeta, also my second favorite character in Dragon Ball, he is definitely a Slytherin. Why? Because he fits one of Slytherin's traits, and that's pride. Because we all know Vegeta is all about saying pride. It makes sense considering he's a proud Saiyan elite, and he thinks he's better than pretty much all the other Saiyans, mainly the low-class Saiyans, because he's royalty. But then again, he was living in dirt by Goku most of the time. He's also cunning. He can be quite cunning too. And he has a big ambition to be stronger than Goku. That's why he sought after more power. So he can fully catch up to Goku and prove that he's better than his rival. So yeah, despite all that, Vegeta is a certified Slytherin. Number 2, Shadow the Hedgehog, the ultimate life form. Shadow's a Slytherin. And ever since he debuted in Sonic Adventure 2, Shadow always had a huge ambition to avenge Maria, believing she wanted revenge on humanity. But that wasn't true, because Shadow had those fake memories implanted into him by Gerald Robotnik. And of course, we all know Shadow is an introvert character who only works with others when he has to. And plus, we all know Shadow's also private since he can pretty much do stuff himself. But remember, Shadow is not Vegeta. He's his own character. But then again, Shadow is also all about power, considering he is the ultimate life form after all. So he thinks he's already better than everyone else, including Sonic. But in the end, yes, Shadow is a Slytherin. And sticking to Sonic the Hedgehog, we have number 3, Rouge the Bat. It makes sense. Like, seriously. She's a jewel thief, she can be quite cunning. And she worked as a double agent in Sonic Adventure 2, the game where she also debuted. And of course, we all know Rouge is all about the jewels, considering her ambition to constantly steal the Master Emerald from Knuckles, even though Knuckles won't let her take it. And now they always butt heads. But then again, Rouge definitely does fit the criteria of being a Slytherin. So she secured her spot in Slytherin. Number 4, Loki, the god of mischief himself, and Thor's brother. Now, if you guys seen in all the MCU movies, and of course the Thor movies, everyone knows Loki is a huge trickster and can be a huge deceiver, and is quite the cunning man. He's all about power because he wants the throne of Asgard for himself, even though when he realized he was adopted by Odin and was raised by the frost demons. Well, the frost giants. And he had a huge ambition to go through great lengths to get what he wants, including, working for Thanos, to give him the Tesseract and have him lead an army of T'Chari in the first Avengers film. And of course, we know Loki's quite prideful, since he does take pride in being a god, being better than others. Even though we don't know what happened to him when he tried looking down on Hulk, and we all know what Hulk did to him. Puny god. But overall, Loki is most definitely a Slytherin. Number 5. Light Yagami from Death Note. For being one of the most intelligent characters in anime, Light definitely fits the criteria of a Slytherin. Now I know what you guys are thinking. Why Slytherin? Shouldn't Light be in Ravenclaw? Even though, yes, though we know Ravenclaws do value intelligence, and Light is intelligent, but he leans more on the Slytherin side, considering, yes, he also has a lust for power, considering he wants to be seen as a god, considering he had the Death Note in his hand, and he constantly writes the names of all the criminals in the world, literally killing them. But even after doing all that, it still wasn't enough for Light, and he sought after more, and he wanted more, which eventually drove him to insanity. And of course, he's also prideful by going under the alias of Kira, until he got exposed by L, which eventually led to L's death. Spoiler, by the way. And his ambition to rid the world of all the scum in the world was admirable at first, but we all know what happens to Light at the end. Another spoiler. Bang, bang, bang. But yes, Light is a Slytherin through and through, no question. Now, back to Sonic the Hedgehog. Number 6. Metal Sonic. Being the creation of Dr. Eggman, Metal Sonic was programmed to rival Sonic in every way. Of course, we have Metal Sonic's ambition to prove to Sonic that he was the real Sonic. But of course, the whole Neo Metal Sonic phase, and copying all the bio data of not just his rival, but all the Sonic heroes, and wanting to eliminate all organic life, so that robotic life could rule the world, which was his ambition. And he also takes pride of thinking that he's more powerful than Sonic when he became Metal Overlord. But in the end, Metal Sonic still lost. But in the end, he's definitely a Slytherin. So, no question there. Now, moving on to Naruto, we have number 7. Sasuke Uchiha. Now, yes, Sasuke is a Slytherin, and if the Uchiha clan was in Harry Potter, the Uchiha would definitely be a pureblood family. And yeah, Sasuke definitely has a trace of a Slytherin. His ambition to achieve power and get stronger so he can finally take down Itachi for slaughtering their parents and the rest of their clan. But we all know Sasuke eventually learned the truth, all thanks to Obito, and now he wants to destroy the Leaf. Spoiler, by the way, to those who haven't seen Shippuden. But to those who already seen Shippuden, you're good. But we all know Sasuke doesn't go through with it. And Sasuke was already prideful that he was already the best student in Iruka Sensei's class. You know, he's constantly butting heads with Naruto, and of course, Naruto, being his rival, wanted to fight him. And of course, we all know how Sasuke learned the Chidori from Kakashi, and of course, him leaving the village thanks to the Ninja 4. And eventually Sasuke does get what he wants, even though technically Itachi did let him win. But in the end, Sasuke, he's most definitely a Slytherin, no question. Number 8. Dr. Stephen Strange, Sorcerer Supreme, even though it's long now. Now, ever since, yes, Strange has always been prideful, considering he was the best neurosurgeon before he was crippled and crippled in the hands. And he also took pride in being one of the wealthiest people ever. And he also takes pride that he knows what he's doing, considering how he became a master of the mystic arts underneath the teachings of the Ancient One. And he can also be quite cunning, considering he literally went against Wong's back while using the forgetting spell in Spider-Man No Way Home. And of course, he also had his ambition to make sure that the multiverse stays intact, and that he'll go to great lengths to do it, even if he had to resort to using the Darkhold or, the Time Stone, considering he looked at all the 14 million in scenarios of how he and the Avengers could defeat Thanos. So yeah, Strange, he's a Slytherin, through and through. Now, number 9, Daffy Duck from the Looney Tunes. Yeah, Daffy can be quite cunning, and he can also be prideful, considering he thinks he's better than Bugs, considering Bugs is pretty much the more loved character in the Looney Tunes cast. And of course, Daffy can also be quite prideful, thinking he's this big hotshot celebrity, and of course, he thinks he's this all-powerful wizard, as shown in the Looney Tunes show. And of course, don't even need to go on. Like, Daffy, he also did some messed up stuff, like literally tricking Porky into giving all of his life savings to him for a kidney transplant, even though that was a lie, and he ended up buying a whole ass yacht after his parade float was destroyed at the car wash. So yeah, after all that stuff, yeah, Daffy's a Slytherin. But the way I see it, I think Devian might try to bribe his way into Slytherin, even though he's not a pureblood. And we all know most pureblood wizards are mostly get sorted into Slytherin because we all know Salazar Slytherin, one of the founders of Hogwarts, wants only the best of the best in his house, which is Slytherin. And he had no tolerance for any half-bloods or Muggleborns. But moving on. Now, we have Azula from Avatar The Last Airbender, number 10. And do I even need to explain him why Azula belongs in Slytherin? She's prideful in being the daughter of Isla Ozai. She's literally a whole psychopath who needs to be locked away underneath an insane asylum. And the list goes on. She almost came close to killing Aang. She could have killed Katara, and she almost did had Zuko not been there. And she also has a loss for power, considering she was given the role of Fire Lord, or thanks to Ozai. And she also had a huge ambition to prove to everyone that everyone should bow to her and that everyone is seen as trash. Which, in her eyes, yes. But of course, her mother was the first one to see her as the monster as she is, which he was right. Which, of course, that caused Azula's mental state to deteriorate faster and faster, leading her to getting defeated and being put in a whole straitjacket. And of course, let's not forget the beach episode, how she constantly bullied everyone, from knocking over a kid's sandcastle, going too far in a volleyball game, and literally said the most unhinged line to her so-called boyfriend, Chan, how his outfit was so sharp, and that it's so sharp it could puncture an Imperial battleship, leaving thousands to drown at sea because, it's so sharp. As she said in said episode. So yeah, Azula, Slytherin. And of course, number 11, Tom from Tom and Jerry. Despite his knowledge of slapstick comedy, his cunningness, and his ambition to always catch Jerry and be prideful when he does, Tom is a certified Slytherin, even though he's a literal cat. But who said a cat can't be sorted into Slytherin? So, yeah, Tom, he's a Slytherin, and no question. And finally, number 12, Levi Ackerman. It makes sense for Levi to be in Slytherin because he's a literal Ackerman. And I think the Ackermans could be a pureblood family if they were in Harry Potter. He takes pride in being in his commander of the regiment whenever they're fighting Titans, and his ambition to keep Aaron and the others in line and to make sure they don't do anything stupid. And yeah, no questions asked. Levi Ackerman is a Slytherin, and he'll be a damn proud one. So there you have it, everyone. Those are the 12 characters I believe deserve to be in Slytherin. Let me know down below if you believe me. Do you think a certain other character should have been in Slytherin? Or should be in Slytherin? Do you agree with my list? Let me know down below. And Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe so that you're all part of the Hondo Nation. So with that, this is Lord Hanzoku signing off. And remember, always be a better you. Happy holidays.